Edward here from earviewer.com. I have another video for you. This is part 2 of a 3-part project that I did a few months back with Debra Catz. Debra Catz, again, is an author, teacher, lecturer, speaker at the International Remote Viewers Association, prominent person in the remote viewing field, as well as a teacher of intuitive studies and healing and all those types of things. And so Debra had reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in working at Target. I ended up doing 3 sessions on it. This is the second part of the 3-part series, and again the target was to see if a remote viewer could perceive a space that was created in the minds of a class that she was teaching, and in that class they had created a mental location, a mental space, and they created it in their own minds and how they would want to create it, what they would want in there. Kind of a mental space of beauty and healing, a space that they could go to in their meditations that would be beneficial for them. So this space was was completely created inside of the minds of the people, of the participants. And she and Debra wanted to see if a remote viewer could perceive that space and describe it, and if a remote viewer could perceive whether or not it was an actual physical location or just a mental location, an idea, a concept in the minds of the participants. And so again, this is part 2, and how I worked it was I did the first session, and a few hours later, the same day, I felt there was more, that there was just something still stuck in my mind that I needed to get out. So I did another session. Again, this is all done prior to any feedback. It was completely blind to the tasking or the target, and the second session was done without any feedback or anything else. But what was coming through as I continued on with this feeling and these notions of conceptualization, a belief, something that people believed in, a philosophy or an idea. And I continued on with that going into this second session. In here, again, some of the dimensionalities can be seen that were put into drawings and sketches by Debra's students of this space that they were creating. And what I was continuing to go into was the elements of human participation, human behavior, individuals who are watching the reactions of other people who are participating, that the motivation behind it was for the betterment or moving forward for themselves, and these types of conceptualizations is very interesting. I'm going to include again here Debra's introduction of the project, how she created it, and what her ideas were as far as I was concerned as a remote viewer trying to do this. And because it's important, in my opinion, to have this insight prior to watching this second session, so that you can get a better idea of what was taking place for me as I was going through this session. So here's Debra again going through the project, and I hope you find it interesting, and many more to come.
Hi, I'm Debra Catz, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about a project I did with Ed Reardon. I'd like to explain a little bit of the background and what led me to coming up with the idea behind this project, and then how we carried it out, and then the final results. So a couple years ago, several of my students were asking me to come up with a level 3 class for my clairvoyant reading and healing classes. And I had been teaching level 1 and 2 for quite a while, and they wanted more techniques and whatever else I had to offer. So one of the things at the time I was really working hard on was the concept of how can we create an environment that is the most conducive to bringing out the best of our psychic abilities. So not even just can we use the right techniques and have the right inner state, but what can we do to place ourselves in a particular place or morphic field or environment that will bring about our greatest chance for success? Well, I came up with a foundation, and then I thought, that's enough for me. I'm going to come to class tomorrow and I'm going to have my students all co-create this space together. And so that's exactly what we did. I shared with them the colors and the platform and said, okay, we're all going here now. And then they each came up with contributions. For example, one student came up with that we were all going to sit in these crystal throne seats that were arranged in a circle. Someone else came up with this mirror that we would look through and kind of have magical qualities. Someone else came up with this magical stone, kind of like they called it a sorcerer's stone. Another person came up with crystals jutting out of the ground, and someone else came up with waterfalls, and there was a parrot flying around, and lots of cool things like that. And so we each shared what we wanted to contribute, and then each person would visualize that. And then after that first class, everyone went home or back to their own lives, and then either drew or sketched, or with either as simple or as elaborate as they wanted the space as they envisioned it. And then we all uploaded it to a private web page. And then just recently I was looking back over those sketches that the students did, and I started thinking, well, I wonder, did we really create an actual space, or did that space really exist? And I was wondering, if a remote viewer actually tuned into that space, would they get the same items that we had put in there? And would they have a sense that this was a special place that was especially conducive to operating at a high psychic level of functioning? And would they even know that this was not an actual physical space, but more of a consciousness shared space, something like that? So I thought, well, I know Ed is always looking for interesting targets, so why don't I task him with this? Came up with a target number, a random number that I paired with this whole idea, and then I wrote to Ed, I emailed him, and I just gave him the target number, and I said, would you like to do this? And give him a deadline of about a week or so. And sure enough, he started to send in sessions and did both written sessions and video. And I have to say, initially I was absolutely just blown away, because one of the concepts I always start with, I talk about this in my 3 books, and in every class we always cover grounding first, the idea of having a grounding cord and connecting yourself into the earth. Only with this particular project, I had the students ground themselves into that special dimensional space that we were going to. And sure enough, the very first thing that Ed starts to talk about is the concept of grounding. He also really found that this was an educational setting. It was based on ideas and concepts that were being shared with a group of people. And I thought that was really interesting, because instead of going right to location, which, he's used to viewing locations, and so I figured he'd go into the physical space first, but no, he really spent quite a bit of time going over the whole idea of this that I had created. So he really tuned in, not so much initially to the location, but to this whole conceptual idea thing that I had created in the type of environment that we were in. Then he went into the physical location. And as you can see from his sessions, he very much got the seating arranged in a circle. He got a mirror that people were looking through. He got a waterfall. He got something about a Rosetta Stone, which our Sorcerer's Stone was very similar to. So he had so many of those same elements. But I was just thrilled with the work that he did, and I am very excited to work with him again, and I hope you guys will all stay tuned and maybe participate as viewers or in some other capacity in our upcoming projects. Thanks.
Test, test. All right, this is 051603, number 2, second session for this target. Zero 51603. Curving. Cross. Curving. B. Solid. Moist. Zero 51603. Take it again. 051603. Zero 51603. A. Curving. Vertical. Angle. Across. Solid, hard. Man-made. Round, flat, dense, dimpled, down, around, curved, beating, rhythmic, rhythmic, pounding, voices, a will break, sleeping, beating, rhythmic, pounding, voices, yellow, black, green, smooth, close, deep, around, feeling an AI coming in here. Focused, or like intense. There's like an intensity. Blue, white, wet, damp. Semi-soft, hairy, big, grooved, AOL, break of a ladder, Yeah. Kind of line. Dimpled. Slow. Back and forth. Green. Inside. Tubular. Dense. AOL or EI. Frightening. Gaseous. Gaseous. Airy. Luminous. Angular. Vertical. Across. Steamy. Humid. Okay. This feels like one element of the target. Feels like it's associated with the location and or geography. This feels heavy. This feels heavy. Like beams of a structure. Beams of a structure. I am getting this water. Feeling of water nearby. Wooden. Stony. What else is here? Reminds me of like a expressway. Okay. Round, flat pointed, angular, large, significance, importance, like a landmark, like a land mark. Call that A will of the signal. But important, significant, important. Or it is a high quality. High quality. Getting AOL's AOL of AOL's, well, or AOL the signal, government building or a university, so significant, important. Open on that. Move to what is significant and describe. Move to what is significant. Move to what's significant. I'm getting this fire. The idea of fire coming in. Significant, important. What's significant about it? What's significant? What is the significance? Prominent. This idea of pleasant. Move to what is significant. How else could I say? Move to what's significant. What is the feeling of significance? Describe the feeling of significance. What is move to the what is significance of me? What is significance? What is significant? More ideas here. Behavior. Behavior. How how people behave. There is an element of human participation in how people behave and or react. Like a study, inquiry, investigation, behavior, element of human participation in how people behave and or react. Behavior. People. AOL, cavemen, behavior. Describe the behavior. Reaction. How people react. How people react. Respond. This thing affects people. That's what I'm interested in. Sensory deprivation. Dimensions. AI, tangible. Where was I? Oh yeah. Move to what is affecting people and Describe and sketch. What are these people responding to? What are these people responding to? What are they responding to or reacting to? Reaction, behavior. What are they reacting to? What are they reacting to? It's like it can be seen as a step forward, but there is a feeling that others are watching. Others respond. Like, so how do I want to describe this? There is a reaction that is being studied or observed. Ideas of progress, moving forward, pushing forward, finding a way moving forward, pushing forward, finding a way. Betterment. Betterment. Caring. Survival. Hope. This is a kind of a stage 4.5. I feel like I am watching others through a one-way mirror. Observing. But go to what, describe what I am observing, studying. Studying is like human growth. Human growth. Human response. This is kind of an idea here, categorizing. Categorizing information. Participating. Observing, participating, categorizing information. Reminds me of the Rosetta Stone, like history log, document, time marker, yeah. Historical event. reduced, cut back, reduction, scale back, new formulation. Well, California. Windy. A model. A reference. Geography. All right, I'm gonna end on that.